can't see them.
Hello, hello, Daily Sunshiners and everybody else. Thank you so much for joining me. Thank you for watching us live here, connecting with me and Miss Araya. And if you're watching the replay, hello, hello. I'm so glad that you could catch us. I know that for some of us in the global community, it can be funky with the time zones. So I just want to say hello and welcome. I'm psychic medium Samantha Fe. Today, my guest is Miss Araya AnRa, and she is a local here in Reno, Nevada, and one of the most talented psychics and mediums I know. I know quite a few, and at this point, the list is growing. But Araya, will you please introduce yourself and just let our viewers and community know a little bit about you?
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me on. My name is Araya AnRa. I am a psychic medium. I've been doing energy work since about 2003, and that entails all kinds of things. I've had a lot of magical stuff come in, been led by the dragons to bring their work through. So there's a book out there with their work, and have just allowed my path to unfold and grow before me. And so I work with clients. My big thing is about breakthroughs and helping people get to their next level, helping them get to that place where they feel on their purpose, they feel on track, and that gets me so excited when I see that. When I see clients really get aligned with a higher truth for themselves, that's what my work is all about. That's what I'm here for, and I love my work, and I'm really excited to share it, and I am excited to be here tonight. So
wonderful. Well, you already talked about like 4 things that I want to talk about, so we're going to dive into that.
Okay.
We're definitely going to talk about the dragons, but one of the things that I really wanted to bring up, because it's something that I love so much about our connection and the style of healing, self-healing that you and I both prefer, is that like pull the rug out from under the whole room and just like, oh, there's a problem with the rug, let's get rid of it. And then it's like chaos for like 3 days. And I've learned actually through my other clients that there are easier ways of healing and that it doesn't have to be so like intense. But I absolutely love that about you, because I feel like you can meet me at our intensities. And that's what to me makes it such a fun pair to work with you, because we like really go for the guts, and it's like, there's a problem, let's solve it. Let's get rid of it. Let's take care of it. And so, yeah, I love that you brought in I love the breakthrough part, because people, I mean, as you know, this work is hard. This work is not easy. As I shared with you, I spent a majority of the day on the floor, literally face down on the floor. My assistant and my dog can both attest to it. But it's because it's like those days of so much movement, of energy, can pile up and it can get exhausting. And so to be able to deal with that kind of energy, and that, especially that breakthrough energy that you're talking about, to me, it's just an indicator of being able to work with intensities. So when people come with you with something that's so intense, it's like, no problem, I got this. Like I can totally handle this. And that's something that I really admire about the way that you work, because it's just, it resonates, and I can laugh with you, I guess I could say.
And I know those so well. I've had a few days on the floor, or, pretty rough mornings in and out. I usually have a big cycle and then move into something else, because my life is so full, as a single mom and business owner, and constant go, go, go. But that said, all that for me, my whole life, my whole pattern way of being is about efficiency. And so even in my work, a blast breakthrough, that's about efficiency. And I think that's why I have, one of the reasons I have such a deep connection with the dragon energies is the dragons are all about efficiency. So we totally line up there. They want to come in and move, and let's move forward. And so all of my programs, all of my work is about that, about how can we go in the most effectively, the most efficiently. Let's get through it. We don't need to, pander around here. We don't need to dilly-dally over here. Let's zone. It's focus. Let's focus in on the key point, the key block. Where are you at right now, and what is keeping you from getting to the other side of that?
Right.
And that's You know, that's just happens to be my particular forte with the energy that I work with. And because I've been doing it so long, and when it came through, it wasn't a training or anything I did with people. It was like a remembering. My guides had me in meditation, and they brought a woman into my life that could see auric fields, and we just started working together. And I just started receiving, and it was like I could feel myself remembering something I already knew. And it's just been building since then. So I love the term. One of my good friends calls me the powerhouse. I'm like, okay, I can feel that. Like, here's the, you know, nuclear power plant energy source, like, but I'm not afraid of it, is part of why it works too. I think a lot of people could carry that kind of energy or work with that kind of blast through explosive efficiency if they weren't afraid of it. And so for me, it's gratifying. It's the capacity to hold space and energy for a large group. I mean, that's my goal. I want to change lives. I mean, you and I are on the same page there. We want to have so many people wake up and realize who they are and what they're here for, and have that just alignment. And I want to do it on a massive scale. So how do you do that? Well, you have to be able to hold a lot of energy. 100 people in the room, 1,000 people in the room. I want to have a stadium full of people and be able to stand in the back and hold the space so that they can all have something clear and see a light or feel a light, you know?
Yeah.
So, yeah, that gets me jazzed.
I can tell. And I absolutely love it, because I can completely resonate. And I just want to connect in with the comments here real quick. One, Debbie asked if we're doing readings tonight. That wasn't on my agenda, but I'm open to it. So we'll see if that door opens, Debbie. And then Nikki, who I absolutely love, because you are like front row in all of the lives. I love the way that you show up. And can I please just say that I'm laughing with you that you can't get on the floor? Nikki took a spill and hurt her finger, hurt her leg, so she hasn't been able to get on the floor. So yes, as we have been face down on the floor, you may be sitting in a chair, but we can all resonate with the same energy, right? It's still, you know, I'm laughing there with you, Nikki, and I'm sending you all the healing vibes, and I have with every crooked finger picture that you've posted. I've been there with you. So here we are, sister.
Yes.
And then, so I have a question for you, because I know that you and I have both talked about this, but I think it'd be something that would be interesting to discuss here is, what do you do and how do you handle it in a session when you're working with somebody and you know the nugget that they need to break through, you know the nugget that's holding them back, and they have it shielded and covered and shielded and covered. And then on top of that, they're afraid, and they're not really actually committed to letting go in that session. Like, it might take a little bit. So how do you handle that? How do you go about that in a session of, working with the client?
For me, it's always about what they're ready for. So when I open a session, I sit with their guides in mind and their higher self, and I feel into what they're ready to know about, have clarity about, and approach that day. And there are people that come, and I mean, I know from the get-go, because they unveil their soul to me. Those that unveil are ready for that breakthrough. They are, let's move it, let's go. And so actually I had one of each this week. I had the total spectrum opposites of a male client who was so ready to let go, and in an hour and 15 minutes, I can't tell you how many layers he went through because he was so ready. Yeah. Whereas another client is very good at veiling themselves, really doesn't have the desire. And healing can't happen, breakthroughs can't happen unless somebody has a desire for that truly to happen. Yep. So when they're too afraid, no matter how much I do, it's not going to happen if they don't want it. So all I can do is invite. So what I do is very gently, simply, I just ask their guides for the best tools or way to allow them to take a step forward. And then I just share that truth. And I'm very honest with them. There's no point ham-hawing around the bush, whatever you want to say. I'm very direct. the truth is the truth, but there's a gentle way that can be delivered.
Mm-hmm.
So if I can sit with that client and just say truth and let them know, you are veiling, you're not allowing me to see the things that I can perceive beyond that veil, regardless, have to do with these aspects, whether it's not wanting to be seen, not being able to trust anyone in the world, not wanting to remember their childhood traumas. That's quite often a huge block that keeps people from going, because they know once they go through that doorway, they're going to have all that memory come in.
Right.
Have all that stuff. And that is too painful, too scary to really step through. So baby steps, okay, let's find a baby step. Let's go there. But the truth has to be shared with them that, this is what's happening. I can see that you're avoiding it, so that they can consciously be aware that they are, sort of being called out in a very gentle way of, do you really want the healing or not? Because you can continue to pay me or another healer or somebody else, but you're not going to get results, and you'll be disappointed until you actually face it, until you're ready.
Yep.
Yeah. So, yeah, great question, because I actually had both this week.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I've dealt with both a lot too on my path of stepping into the role of being a healer and being somebody that's leading someone through transformation. And that I have a screening process now. I work with people on a long-term basis, minimum 4 months now. I've done with my 3-month program, so it's minimum 4 to 6 months. And I interview them to get to see where they're at before, because I know how long it's going to take if, like you're saying, they're in that like shielded layer, mm-hmm. or if they're ready to jump on board. Because I know that Loki's being a good guard dog. But yeah, I know that because like the first session, so I'm just going to back up a little bit and share the story of how we met. Mutual friend, Miss Beautiful and Wonderful Elspeth, who is a talented being. I think we would both agree on that, beyond measure.
I'm wanting to see her on the cover of Vogue. So
yeah.
The photo shoot's been doing
oh my gosh, I know. She's incredible. This is a plug for Elspeth. If you guys don't know Elspeth, go find her, and she's amazing. She will be at Become, so I'm really excited about that. So she suggested that I go to see you for reflexology. Right. And I remembered literally walking down the hallway that we now share the office in, but walking down the hallway and being so terrified, literally wanting to call you and be like, something came up. All of a sudden, like, I just can't do this, blah, blah, blah. Like, every single excuse was running through my head. And as a healer, I know exactly what that means. That meant that a lot of shit was going to just blow up, basically. We're going to pull the rug out from under that I'd gotten really cozy decorating around. And like, yes, this is a part of my pain, and we're all going to admire it.
This is just funny, right?
Right? It really ties the whole identity together. Can we leave it? And so, yeah, coming to see you, I was still nervous showing up, again, knowing that it was going to happen. But I also, something that you and I both talked about later, I know how to release. And I know how to release on a massive scale. And so the healing that I did with you that day, I went through like 3 days of recovery because so much energy had moved in my space. And it was so intense. And I know, and I've said this before, but one of the things that I remember saying, because you were there doing reflexology, and I'm like, this woman is a psychic medium, and she is like so powerful. And I was so thrilled to work with you, and still am. I mean, I've asked you to help me through a couple of other weird things, especially getting back from Morocco. But I just really admire, like, yeah, your directness. And even then, when I'm sitting there crying on your table, sobbing like tears of everything, you are so nurturing and so kind. And so it's just an honor to share in this journey, because there's so many things that happen and there's so many people that come and go. And so I'm just excited. Like you said, it's something that gets you going. What gets me going is finding cohorts on this journey, because I've been doing it alone for so long that it's so nice to find,
we have a good team building. And thank you for that. But part of your comment that I was nurturing when you were in your breakdown part of that. But if you recall, I also didn't allow you to come out of it. I didn't pull you out by being overly nurturing and like wanting to say, oh, it's okay, whatever. Because truly the most unloving thing anybody can do is pull someone out of their emotion. Even a child. People see that I let my son sit there and cry before I go over and, when he's gone through the hardest part of it, then I go comfort. And then, everybody's immediate reaction normally is to go comfort that person, that child, say, oh, it's going to be okay. Let me just put my arm around you while you cry. Even the arm around supporting while they cry is pulling them out of the emotions they need to release from a soul level. It's like, let it out.
Yep.
Don't stuff it. Don't stifle it. Don't stop the flow. Don't pull it sideways. And we have really bad tendencies in society overall of that, and how to really look at the most loving way we can treat someone when they're in an emotion.
Yep. I totally agree. Tears start coming and I say, let yourself feel.
Yes.
But one of the good things I did learn about getting my degree in psychology, because there were a few takeaways from that whole adventure. Anyway, that's a whole nother thing. But one of the things that I did learn from a professor that I still deeply and truly admire, her name's Maria Hess at Sonoma State. She's an absolutely incredible being. But she mentioned that when somebody starts crying, our instinct, or what we've been told, is to like touch them or to hug them or to like comfort. And it does, like you're saying, it pulls them out of their experience. It pulls them out of the emotion of feeling what they need to feel in order to actually heal. Because we can cry a little bit and just kind of like breathe our way through it, but that's not a breakthrough at all. Letting yourself be sad through a moment, there's a total disconnect. The
raw layer of it.
Yeah.
When someone's in that big sobbing raw layer, hands off, stand back and hold space for them.
Yeah.
Sit back and pray and allow them to be in their full healing, and just hold space until they're done.
Yeah. I think you handed me a tissue and I went full on ugly cry. Whoa! Get it all out. I couldn't sleep straight for a couple days after that. Everything.
That's why it moved.
So much fun.
I think your second session was similar.
Yeah, and totally different too. Like totally different issues, similar. Yeah, I was ready for it, and that's what this last couple weeks has been for me too, especially with the eclipse. And I know, Kia, you also said that you've been on the floor for the last couple days, like the ceiling's on fire. That is hilarious. And maybe we should send each other selfies next time. Kayla literally came back from lunch today. Kayla's my assistant. I literally was on the ground on my belly. She's like, what are you doing? And I was like, this is what I'm doing. But letting myself just feel and letting myself just be. So let's talk about the dragons, because dragons, I actually was introduced, I was born year of the dragon. So I've always resonated. I'm an earth dragon by Chinese zodiac. And so I've always resonated with it. And, Miss Patty, who we were just talking about, the president of the American Federation of Certified Psychics and Mediums, she is the one that introduced me to connecting with not just my own dragon energy, but the dragon energy that is outside of myself. And I know that you have an extraordinary amount of experience. And actually, what I've learned about dragons, I've learned from having the sessions that we have. And so what are some of your favorite things about the dragon energy? How did you get connected with it? What is it that you'd like to share? Because I know we could be here for like 3 days if we really like dove all the way in.
I've got a whole book out on working with the dragons. It's like a guidebook. So interestingly, when all of my energy work started coming through, I started working with people, and as I would work with them, I could feel in their energy field, like there'd be a block in their hips or their spine specifically, or up in their shoulders. And I was flipped out, because what I was seeing and experiencing was like a dragon tail and spine or a dragon wing trying to break out of their shoulder. And I was like, are you kidding? What? I was like, that's not possible.
Did you think you were going crazy?
I also can't say that to them because they're going to think I'm insane. I was living in a tiny little town in Wyoming of 8,000 people where I was already challenged with having been the executive director of the Chamber of Commerce, quitting my job, and 5 months later, I'm teaching meditation and starting to do energy work with people. And everybody's like, are you the same person? Yeah, I really am. But anyway, so it started coming through in that way. So the dragons started presenting themselves. I started realizing that, they were connected to these particular individuals. And when I would say it, when I finally had the courage to say to them, okay, what I'm moving and what I'm sensing right here is like a dragon wing. And they would just like have this expression on their face of clarity, of knowing, and like getting it. And I'm like, oh, okay, I'll go with it. So the more and more and more that happened, I actually ended up going to an event in Hawaii, and I knew I had more stuff to do with the dragons. I sensed some big project. And the leader of the retreat just turned to me when it was over, and during the 3 days of the retreat had me end up leading parts of it as the dragon energies were brought in and needed to be part of it. And it was just the most natural flow and stepping into a piece of myself that was long forgotten. Like, I got in the water in Hawaii, in this beautiful bay, and I called to the water dragon there from the Pacific, and all of a sudden she came in and threw me. And I was down in the water because we were going to bless all these women, or all the participants in the retreat, before we went on to the next thing. And the dragons were part of it. And I literally was underwater, merging her energy field with mine, thinking, part of me thinking, this is insane, this is crazy, this is huge. And then all of a sudden I came up and surfaced, and it was literally as if I was looking out of her eyeballs. I had these huge eyes, and I was looking at the world in a very different way than I do from this human form.
Mm-hmm.
And that was my first experience meeting Tana, the water dragon in the Pacific. And from there, at the end of the retreat, the leader of this turned to me and said, you have a book to write. And I literally said, yeah. There was no fear in me. There was no questioning that. There was no like, you're insane. Yeah, go away. Because that's how I was 3 days prior. 3 days prior, he said, oh, you know about dragon? I said, yeah, if you get any more info about that, you just let me know. Sort of that sarcastic old person that he was. And,
mm-hmm.
and then all of a sudden there was this knowing, and literally I think it was, how many weeks later? That was August and October. So 2 months later, I was on a plane to the UK. I needed to go to Glastonbury. I landed myself, following my inner guidance, in this little hostel outside of Glastonbury. There was maybe a 15-minute walk into town. And I couldn't figure out why that particular place was calling me, and I was drawn to it. They had a little tiny, not even a studio, like a half studio with a kitchenette and, 2 little tiny cot beds. And I rented it for a couple weeks. And I came to find out later that it is the closest physical structure located near the energetic dragon lines that run through the tour in Glastonbury that anyone can be in. So it actually being a physical structure where I could plug in and have a computer and do all that. So I was literally like less than 100 yards from the line energetically in this place. And it was the only building anywhere near it, other than up on the in Glastonbury. So I took the next, I think it was only 7 to 10 days. And I just sat in that little room, and I connected with each one, the earth dragon, all the elementals, then moving through Syrian dragons and the crystal and black and whites, and all these different realms and layers of dragons, and octaves, actually, is what I call them. And getting out to the intergalactic dragons. And the entire book came through in that time. Very little editing afterwards, other than format and all that. And then got it out there. And that's really when the dragon work started. And it's been sort of on the back shelf for a while, sort of just going out in the world in its own way. But it's very, very interesting as I, because I've gone through my own process since 2012. I had my life sort of blow up, and I cocooned for a while. I cocooned for 4 years. And in coming out of my cocoon, all of a sudden, book sales rose again. People started contacting me again for sessions with them, with the dragons. And so that is part of what I do. I would say it's not the predominant part of my work now, because I've gone into a different space or octave, but it feels like in some way they're merging again. Mm-hmm. That somehow it's coming back around and that there's more work. I think we mentioned in one of our sessions together, like all of a sudden I feel like there's a Dragon Without book, because it's the Dragon Within. Now we're going to have the Dragon Without, I don't know. But it definitely feels like the time on the planet is right, that people are ready for the next octave, because the last ones have started to integrate and people are able to work with it much faster, more efficiently, much more directly, and in their own order now. Like when it was first written, you had to literally follow a protocol of which dragons to work with in order. Wait till, like, say the air dragons, you work with the male and you work with the female, and then you wait and merge them when the timing is right, and then you move on to, once you do all the elementals, then you can go to the next level. And it was, gosh, 3 or 4 years into it that it became very clear that people could follow any order they needed to. Mm-hmm. That they knew which ones they needed to work with, that the dragons were coming directly, they were showing themselves and just saying, okay, I'm here. There's the book. That's the mantra. Work with me. And so, yeah, it's exciting. It's fun. They're beautiful. I mean, literally, the outside of the grace of God and feeling divine love flow into myself, the only thing close at all to that, in my experience, is the unconditional vibrational experience of the love from the dragons, especially the highest octave ones. Mm-hmm. It blew me away the first time I got to that space and could feel it in my whole being resonating, and it's pretty powerful. Yeah, it takes you to a different place.
Yeah, I can definitely resonate with that, because I think in the ways that you it sounds to me like the ways that you connect in with the dragons is similar to the way that I connect in with the earth angels. Yeah. And like the first time I found my wings, I didn't tell anybody about it for like 6 months until the second time they reemerged, and it was like, you need to pay attention to this. But I did the same thing. Like, coming out as a psychic is one thing, but then for me, like, coming out as a self-proclaimed earth angel, I was like, who do I think I am, first of all? And who are they telling me I am? And what is the disconnect? And like, same sort of thing. Like, I was like, people are going to think I'm insane. Any sort of insecurities I had about being a psychic, and the transition, like you're saying, Chamber of Commerce person, I had my own transitions in that as well. And then to also be like, oh, and by the way, I'm an earth angel. And not only that, you probably also have wings, and I can help you find them. So it's like same dragon earth angel. And now it's funny because I feel like we're kind of we're merging. We're learning.
You need to find your dragon wings.
Yeah. Oh, I have
both sets.
Yeah, they're there. And yeah, the book for me that has been talked about for a couple of years is actually now starting to take form about all different kinds of wing sets, because now clients are showing up with all different kinds of wings. Moth wings, butterfly wings, fly wings, dragonfly wings, like pterodactyl wings, dragon wings, earth angel wings, basically all these different, what was that?
Fairy wings.
Fairy wings, yes, they're all starting to show up. And like you're saying, like, I'll start to see them, and I saw one that had like almost like queen ant wings. And so looking at like, what is the animal symbolism of those wings and connecting in with that. And my client was like, yeah, like nodding her head like, oh my God, that totally makes sense. And for me, I'm sitting there like, what? Really? Like, I know I've seen a lot of things, and I know I trust my abilities, and I know I've done all this, but like, am I still actually seeing this? And is she still actually receiving this? Yeah. And this is real, because I still have those moments. Believe it or not, I still totally have those moments, even with the amount of like crazy things I've seen and experiences. Like you're saying, I loved when you were saying that you had that moment of feeling that you were looking through her eyes, that your physical body.
I'll never forget it.
Yeah, I had the same experience in not with dragon energy, but with it felt to me like an old Hawaiian chief. I went to a heiau. This was a very sacred moment for me in my life, and as far as like stepping into my own power and stepping into my own abilities. I was on Maui. I was in total transition. I didn't know where my life was going. All these things were up in the air. I knew there was a healer on Maui that I knew that I was supposed to see. I didn't know how to get a hold of him, but I knew that he existed. Yeah. And I knew what he looked like because I met him one time before. And I'm literally floating on my back, like looking at the sky in the water, floating on my back. And I look back, and upside down, I see him standing on the beach, like 10 feet away from me. And I was like, oh my gosh, good. I don't even have to try to find his number. There he is. So I started talking with him, and within like, I don't know, maybe 20 minutes, he asked me if I wanted to go basically on a field trip with him to a heiau. Part of me is like, am I crazy? I'm going to just jump into a car with this guy. And like, I know he's a healer, but like all of my like, you know, all the things that they tell you when you're a little girl not to do. I was like, my buzzers are going off. And still my internal, like you're saying, the inner guidance was like, yes, just trust, you're good, it's okay. And so I ended up going with him to, we grabbed some lunch, and then we went up to the heiau. And this heiau overlooked this bay on Maui. And I walked in, and I already started channeling. I knew my past lives. I knew what had happened there. I knew what it was all about. Like, I felt like I stepped into a time warp of my own remembering. And there was a rock that was at the farthest end on one of the sides, and there was a rock. And the second I got to the rock, I started seeing blood, and I started seeing babies, like just really vivid visions. And he goes, yeah, oh, so he's giving me this like tour, right? And he's like, so this is the birthing rock? And I'm like, oh my gosh, I could have told you that. Like, yes, oh, really? I'm on. And like I said, this was like 4 years ago. So I'm still like, wasn't super confident about my abilities. And so that was a nice validation. But then I sat with the rock, and I touched it, and I saw this moment where I came out of my mother's body and was like in that birth canal, and like remembered that in the like spirit form that I was in that baby moment. But like it's interesting and a little bit challenging to describe, but I basically remembered coming out of my mother's body, and I remembered her holding me and seeing my father for the first time, and knowing who that father in that lifetime was in this lifetime. Like, it just hit me super clearly. And I burst into tears, just burst into tears, like, oh my gosh. And I started getting all these downloads of, this is why I'm on Maui. This is what my purpose is. This is why I'm here in this time. And not like overall, but like in the Maui time, the time frame that I was there. And so I started going to this heiau all the time. Any chance I would get by myself, I would go up to this heiau, and I would just full surrender, like, please share with me what you have. And we could be here for 2 days telling you everything that happened in that period. But my point is that there was a time I was standing there. I really had to go to the bathroom, but I was standing there and I was channeling, and I was just like, I was so in it, and I was like, oh, it's so annoying that I have to pee right now. I'm just going to like ignore this, and I'm going to keep channeling. I'm going to keep myself open. And because so much beautiful information was coming through. And then I could feel there was, it was like a Hawaiian chief. He asked me, he was like right above my crown, and he asked me if it was okay for him to like come into my body, essentially. And I said, it's okay for you if you want to come into my crown and my sixth chakra. That's my boundaries. You're welcome to do so. And so he came in to share with me his experience and his information. And I remembered that moment, like my eyes changed, and I could feel my eyes change. And I also heard this fleeting thought, oh, so that's what it feels like to have to pee. And I was like, oh my gosh, like this thought of this being in my body, and like the whole experience, and the thing that he feels like the physiological part of me when he's connected in, I started laughing, and I was like, oh my gosh, like this is so funny. But at the same time, I mean, I feel like at least, I mean, you know me good enough at this point that you just have to add comedy into this stuff, or it's like it gets to be too much. And so in that instant, I had to crack up and laugh. And I told my healer friend about it later, and I was like, oh my gosh, it was like the weirdest thing, but at the same time, it changed me in some of the most beautiful ways. It opened me in so many different chambers of my heart. There were beings there that were really helping me with my my relationships with my parents, and not just in this lifetime, but lifetimes. Yeah. And I did a lot of core heart wounding, like that healing, just by spending time in that place. It left an imprint on me. And I also felt like I was collecting pieces of my soul that I had left there. I felt more complete when I was done every time from leaving that space.
And that's a whole nother subject that like we could open up. But you know, two things you said there that were really interesting to me. Because my experience with Tanaa the dragon coming through my eyes was also in Hawaii, but it was on the Big Island.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, that it's a power place. I love the islands. I lived on Kauai for 5 years, got to be underwater for 5 years in Kauai. And, you know, the energy in all of the islands is definitely one that moves through dimensions and takes you into new pieces of yourself. Mm-hmm. The other, you know, what you were mentioning before is, you know, am I crazy? I've got these wings. I'm seeing all these wings. And my whole feeling is now, regardless of whether the experience is, quote, real or not, or we end up figuring out that, oh, we made it up, it doesn't really matter because healing has happened because of it. Someone's in a new, better place in their life because of it. Why not? Mm-hmm. You know, it can be real, it can not be real, but if it's an experience that moves you forward, hey, awesome.
Yep. Yeah. I agree. When I was a little girl, I used to say I choose to believe in fairies because it makes life more interesting. Does it need to be any more than that, really? it just helps, you know?
Speaking of traveling to places where you pick up pieces of yourself,
yes, let's hear.
I was drawn to travel around Ireland and Scotland for 7 weeks, and I spent 5 weeks in Ireland, and I played Irish whistles at the time. And so I went to the Hill of Tara.
Do you still play them?
I do. They're on my piano. I don't pick them up too often, but I do.
You got to bring them to become.
Okay. I'll practice a few of my songs first. But that said, I had this amazing experience at the Hill of Tara with the fairies. I was invited by the king and queen to actually go and experience their dimension of all the sites on the Hill of Tara there. And then I got led to stay overnight in the B&B on site. Like, I was like, how am I going to afford this? I don't know if they even have rooms, but I can't leave this place. I had to be there for 24 hours. I was shown to integrate everything that they just gave you. You have to stay on site. And so while I was there, one of the really fun pieces was that I was sitting under this tree, and it was the fairy tree. And I went through this experience of like, almost like a wedding ceremony, energetically, with this being there. And as I sat, I could hear this tune playing over and over and over in my head. And I had my whistle in my bag, and I pulled it out. So I just started playing it. And then it got faster and faster and faster and faster. And it was what I call the fairy song now. And it was something that they play as like this exciting dance that, you know, sort of had a short little ditty like most Irish tunes are. And then it gets faster and faster, which is what the fairies love to do. It's super fun. And that memory just came in when you were talking about the fairies and bringing fun into it. And I was like, yes, there can always be fun in it. And someday I'll get back to that place. I loved Ireland. I was so at home there. And I had some really deep experiences. I'm trekking along in Scotland on the West Highland Way. And as I'm walking by Loch Lomond, I had been aware that my family's heritage, my birth family in this life, has ancestry, the Campbell family, which when you're over in Scotland, you don't really want to claim being a Campbell because they raped and pillaged and stole land and everything from almost everybody around Loch Lomond. I didn't know that part until I was walking along and I saw a placard sign, and I can't remember if it was before or after this, but I, at one point on the hike, experienced knowing exactly where I had hidden behind this tree, where I had gone and like basically attacked someone to get, you know, their stuff and also take over that piece of land. And then, finding this plaque that
Mm-hmm.
explained, how things were done in that area, and then about the Campbells, and I went, oh, I better not mention that name around. But yeah, there's really powerful places that each person, it's different for each one of us based on our past life history and our connections there and what happened and the pieces we left behind, or the pieces that we didn't want to acknowledge and need to pick up. So yeah, that wasn't a very beautiful piece of myself. And I probably didn't want to acknowledge all the horrible things I did. And yet now that I'm ready to make amends to all the souls involved in that, it was ready to come back in.
Mm-hmm.
And so I've been called to quite a few places around the world, finding those pieces. The Peruvian trip most recently being, I feeling like one of the last pieces for me before my work just is what I'm really here for. There's a big agenda and it's being made clear to me. And so I'm just trusting and going with the next step and the next step until my angels and guides, I think if they revealed it all right now, I'd flip out and run the other way. Oh no.
Yep. Yeah, I had a session the other day, and this person had seen or like accepted more of his future that was like really far away than I have personally seen for myself. And I know for me it's true because I know that I have massive goals. I know that I have huge dreams. I know that I'm here and I want to make a significant shift and change in humanity by reminding people of where they were before they came into the body, reminding them of who they are and what their purpose is. And I know that there's a part of me that if I were to see where I actually would be going and where like the potential of that is, there's a part of me that's terrified of that. And I feel like I've gotten better at it. It doesn't scare me as much as it has in the past, but I think that that is one of the things that keep people stagnant. And it reminds me of the Marianne Williamson quote that it isn't our greatest darkness that we're afraid of. It's our greatest light. It's what is it that we're capable of, that we're actually more afraid of our power than we are of our demise, because our power is unpredictable. It's like we know our darkness because we've lived there.
Yeah.
We've gotten really comfortable in, not accepting the beauty of who we are. We've gotten really comfortable with not loving ourselves. We've gotten really comfortable with, just kind of being shitty, to just put it bluntly. Like, we've gotten comfortable with it. And the idea of holding ourselves accountable and holding ourselves responsible for the things that we've done and the things that we're here to do, it's like it starts to shake people that, do we really want to hold ourselves responsible and accountable for living to our potential, for actually honoring our creator, however you see that energy, by honoring ourselves and, performing at our best?
Yeah.
And I think that that's one of those things that gets stirred up, especially in the past life stuff. What was your potential in a past life? What is your potential in this life? What is your potential in future lives? That, again, a whole nother thing. We can talk about that for another couple of days.
Because a lot of people have had experiences with past life information of where they were in a great deal of power and had a lot of influence and really misused it. And that keeps us from really wanting to step into that place again for fear of repeating the pattern. And very interestingly, I've had a lot of big breakthroughs, especially since starting to work together in March. And one of my recent ones, it just came clear to me, my whole new motto, and this is my quote that's going to be out there in the world that I live by now, is you cannot see your greatness until you break through your smallness. And
I love that.
I'm going to put it out there tomorrow. I'm going to make time and get it out. I've been trying to all week on a post on my Facebook that's my quote to live by. You have to break through the smallness. Mm-hmm. You really want to see your greatness and get out there and do what you're going to do.
You have to. One of my other ones is do it nervous, do it scared, just do it. So I actually have a really fun, very tangible story about that happened this week. Um, so I had a partner, my last relationship, that brought me to this really awesome Mexican restaurant. And I wanted tacos because I'm a taco fiend sometimes. And I badly wanted tacos and I wanted to go there. But there was part of me that was like so afraid that I would run into him. And it sounds so silly saying it out loud right now, but I'm going to. And so I was nervous, but I remember like walking through the parking lot, like, do it nervous, do it scared, do it afraid. If I practice this and I practice my courage and I practice my bravery, and it's all like in my head. My head was like, well, what if he's there? And it's not like that was a place he hung out. We went there once. But so I was like still nervous. And that day I hid at the bar in the corner seat and I ended up talking to the owner. And the owner and I clicked, like absolutely clicked. So we were talking about alcohol and I was, sharing my perspective on alcohol and asking him, he was like, we were totally on the same page. And so I was like, okay, so how do you feel about serving alcohol in large quantities? And what happens when people get like too drunk at your bar? And we had an amazing conversation. And since I've gone a couple more times, and so he started following me on Facebook, come to find out, he knows my mom, he knows my sister, he's asking me like how her kids are. He's totally interested in the work that I'm doing. And like, it's this amazing connection. And I love going to visit him. I love going to hang out. I usually go there alone just so I can go and hang out with him. His name is Chewy. He's in the Midtown Eats little section of town. You guys go to Chewy's. He's amazing.
Beautiful.
And so it's just funny because I had this aha. I was sitting there talking to him like 2 days yesterday. It was yesterday. That's how much has happened today.
Like this.
So yesterday, and we had another really amazing, wonderful conversation. And I just thought to myself, if I wouldn't have pushed through my nervousness and if I wouldn't have pushed through my fear in that time, no matter how big or small it is, then that connection wouldn't have been made. And it's one of those connections that makes me so happy. He's just one of those people that I see and I'm like, yay! Like my heart smiles and I smile and he smiles and everybody's like, it's so much fun. And it's those things in life that I really enjoy experiencing. But it's like I had to get out of my own smallness. That's what I mean by like this is a tiny example, but my own smallness was the fear.
Yeah.
The fear of, well, what if I run into somebody that I don't want to see while I'm here? And that creates, some sort of pain or some sort of discomfort, but moving through it, breaking through that smallness and being like, I'm not going to let that happen to myself or control me. And two, I'm so glad that I did and moved through it.
What a beautiful new connection for so many people.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like Mexican food.
Let's go to Chewy's. I go there for the ceviche like twice a month.
Okay, I'm in.
Yeah, he's great. And he loves Loki. Anywhere I can bring my dog, I'm like sold.
Okay, let's be honest. Who doesn't love Loki? Is there anybody on the planet that has met him that doesn't love Loki?
Probably the people who have watched him when I've gone out of town. I'm just kidding. The people who have watched him when I've gone out of town love him, but I also get him back and they're like, oh, he's rough. I said, I know, he's a 3-person dog and I'm trying to raise him by myself. It's crazy.
He's like a toddler. They have to be ready for that. Give him a couple of months.
It's crazy.
Honestly, my puppy just turned 1. He's actually now becoming a really good dog. He actually now can listen and come back in the house when I call him. So I got a few issues to work with.
Yeah.
He loves to still poop in the house. I don't know why, but I'm not going to fight it because it's pretty easy to clean up. He's not peeing in the house anymore. That's the big thing.
Yeah.
But he's a year old. It's taken him a year to actually get to I guess he's like 7 now, right? So that's about right. It's like my 8-year-old son is now becoming more of a human being in a way. He can be challenging too.
So can you please, because I just love this story so much, but can you share with everyone what your dog's name is and how you named him? Because I think it's hilarious. I don't know if everyone else will. I think it's so funny.
Well, I let my son name him. And, I should have known our fish is named Fishy. Our cat is named Poochie. Our other cat is named Kitty. So when we got the dog's name was Jupiter from the kennel or from the shelter that we got him from at 8 weeks old. And Jupiter just didn't fit. And so we were trying different things. And all of a sudden my older son says, he's B-Dog, Mom. He's got to be B-Dog. And I said, like, B-Dog? Like a B-Boy, B-Dog? And yeah, because the puppies movies, the Air Buds, all the Buddies movies with the 5 golden retrievers, which if you're a parent or you have children, you've got to know about the Buddies movies. If you don't, look it up on Netflix. There's at least 5 of them. The cutest little golden retriever puppies ever. One's name is Pluto, one's B-Dog. I can't remember. You know, they just have their personalities. And so the B-Dog in the movie has this big, you know, chain. He's wearing his bling and has his boombox everywhere he goes. It's hysterical. So anyway, just a little warning here, so you know, I'm at 20% battery. I just got a warning. I don't think I'll cut out, but if for some reason my phone cuts down, there you go.
We're gonna make it. We're gonna make it. We go till 9. I think we're gonna make it.
I was feeling on faith that it would. I'm just putting it out there so everybody knows.
Yeah, so that's my point. I think it's hilarious that you named your dog after a B-boy or a B-dog, like a gold chain. And if you guys see, maybe you can post a picture of your dog in the comments so that people who are watching this can see it later if you want to. But B-dog is really not a B-boy. He's like the opposite of a B-boy, and I just find the whole situation comical.
He's more like Benji with big pointy fox ears with the little hair. So cute.
He's so cute. So cute. I love it.
Away with murder because he's really not very smart. I mean, it's taken him a long time to get semi-smart.
Yeah, that's my problem with Loki, is that he's so smart that he messes with me. Like, he knows what is going on. He's really, really smart. And it's really challenging because I've never been a dog mom before. I've never had to train a dog, and we're learning and growing together. And it's challenging, and I feel like we're finally getting to be in sync. And he's been by my side for the last 6 months every single day, and I'm finally starting to speak his language.
Well, you know, of course he's smart. He knows the office that he likes to come hang out in.
I know.
I open my door and he just will wander in. Like, hey,
yep.
I'm checking
he does every time. It's so funny. So funny.
Yes.
All right. Well, I know that you've got a couple of things coming up. You've got like the transformation springboard and your blast off breakthroughs, because you're the queen of let's get rid of the nugget, let's get rid of the core. So how can people get a hold of you, and how can they find you?
All right. Well, I am on Facebook, Araya AnRa. I have a Facebook group, Blocks, Breakthroughs, and Miracles for your soul's journey into love. My business page, Invoke Healing International, is there, and that's where all of these are posted, all of my services. The Transformation Springboard program is a 3-month program, one-on-ones. That's 12 weeks, bi-weekly sessions, nice long 90-minute sessions to really make progress, really move forward, and have a nice long supportive one-on-one environment over that 3 months to really make some headway, to really make a lot of growth happen. In October, I think I'm going to be offering the next Breakthrough Blast Off Intensive. That one takes advantage of the group dynamic. I love working with groups, and when anybody's ready to really go forward, the group dynamic just exponentializes the power of the energy. You know, one-on-one, we're square in that energy. We've got 2 of us. 4, that's, it's not cubed. It's beyond that, to the square root of, whatever. People are in the group. I usually do 11 in a group, but what's 11 times 11? That's 121 fold of energy going in. So some big.
Yeah, I'm not a mathematician either.
Yeah,
I can't help you on those.
That's where you can find me. You can direct message me through Facebook. Would love for those that are ready to do some good diving in to contact me, because I love my work, and I know there's people out there that are ready, and I'm happy to be there of service.
Wonderful. Yeah. And where can people meet you on August 24th?
Oh man, it's going to be fun. We're going to be at Become live at the Atlantis. And 6th. I'm so proud I get to be at the VIP lunch table on the.
Yes.
I'm going to be on a panel. That's pretty exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm thrilled to meet some people. I've seen a lot of the followers in both the Intuitive Connection Academy that you have and the Daily Sunshine, and to have some of them come in and meet face to face. I mean, how fun is that? I'm pretty excited to be there, and I think
I'm excited to hug.
Stuff is going to happen.
Yes,
in the room with all the angels around holding space. Rock it! Everybody, be ready.
Yeah. We've got 7 of the Earth Angels, and Miss Kayla, who's a very young rock star herself, holding space. Working on getting someone to crystal grid the room too, so that's in the atmosphere. We've got Healing One. Chaz with Healing One is going to be there talking about the float, so he's going to be there holding space. He's an incredible being himself. And Miss Shauna Grace is going to grace us with her presence and do a class on medical intuition on the first day. So we've got some all sorts of really cool, really fun things coming up. And the VIP opportunity is to have lunch with myself and the Earth Angels. And so it really is, it's going to be such an intimate and such a beautiful thing. We have a few seats left. I am expecting it to fill up, or at about, so we've got a few more seats left. I'm expecting the next couple of weeks. I feel like people are really last minute with events, so that's kind of fun. But we do have people traveling from out of town to come to visit, and it's going to be an extraordinary transformation. I know it already has been for me to set this up and to set my own game up. I've never been on the stage for 3 days teaching and leading, and other than our Earth Angels retreat, which I feel like it went really well, and I don't know if it was just because that I know you guys so well or what it is, but I felt really comfortable. So that's where I'm pulling my confidence from.
Awesome. It was amazing. We all moved
I'm excited. I'm gonna go shopping for my dresses because I know all of you are so interested in what I'm going to be wearing. Something I can laugh about, but I'm going to go dress shopping this weekend. Okay. I'm just excited. The whole process has been a journey and a learning experience in and of itself. And I'm so thrilled, and I feel so loved and so supported that all of the Earth Angels are going to make it, because I'm getting weepy on the inside. You guys just mean so much to me, and it means so much that you're all going to be there, and more family for all of us. It's so exciting. So that's become, you guys know how to get a hold of me. And then Araya, she's in the Daily Sunshine. Both of us are going to be going through and commenting through and reading back through what it is that you guys have said. So know that no comment is going to go unseen. And you'll know how to get a hold of both of us too that way. So friend Araya, friend me, if we aren't already. And otherwise, thank you. Yeah, did you have something else?
I was just being told to, for those that are really into the dragon stuff that got talked about, dragonwithin.com might be of interest to them, but I can put that in the comments too.
Is your book on ebook, or is it also?
No, just on dragonwithin.com. It's a purchase through and a direct download.
Okay.
It's a book with a CD. It's got a full CD with it of the mantras to listen to and work with. So it's
very cool.
Yeah, full package.
Very cool. I love that. I want all of it. I haven't even got my paws on that, so I will check back in with everyone once I start learning my dragon mantras.
All right. Well, thank you so much. This was so much fun.
I
always love hanging out with you. So
I know it's so good.
At the time.
Every time.
I know.
Yes. Thank you for, look, and Kia's on it. She put the dragonwithin.com right here.
Oh, look at her. Thanks, Kia. Wow.
Boom. I know. She did it for me today, too, in the Intuitive Connection Academy. Kia, you are a rock star. Thank you for the alley-oop always, and your love and support. It is felt and appreciated and received with love. So thank you, everyone, for joining us. Thank you for watching the replay if you've tuned in. And some of you might think our stories are crazy, and that's totally okay. But I really encourage you to just kind of open your mind and just allow yourself to be in what if. what if what we're saying actually is true? What if what we're saying actually exists? Because I know in my heart of hearts, it is very much true for me. And it's taken me a while of, testing the waters to check and see if it is real. And I wouldn't believe it if I didn't have my own personal experience. So I encourage you to really start diving into it for yourself, whatever it means for you, because once you start having your own personal experience with energies, with guides, with spirits, it's undeniable. And it's something that it's so resourceful, and it never goes away. It's with you always. So
add on to that, after you open your mind, open your heart, and just let one little ounce of that new energy in, and you'll be hooked.
Yep. And then release your grounding cord and let everything else go. Boom.
All right.
All right. Well, everyone have a wonderful night. And Araya, thank you so much for your love, your stories, and your time. It has been so much fun. And I'll talk to you soon.
Okay. Good night.
Ciao, everybody. Let's see if we can have a more graceful ending this time.